I was in an 8-man cell, so every guy in the cell wanted to be with me in some sexual way. Every day, someone wanted something. And it had gotten to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I had ended up asking to be placed in protective custody, knowing that I would be placed in solitary confinement because the physical abuse had outweighed the effects of solitary confinement. And I rather had dealt with the psychological abuse of dealing with solitary confinement versus the sexual and physical abuse that I was dealing with in general population.
The standard that was violated in my particular case was the one that about cross-gender searches. No officer is allowed to search an inmate of an opposite gender by themselves, or even in most cases unless there's a medical professional or somebody else there.
It's written that a male staff is not supposed to pad search a female staff except for cases of dire emergency. Dire emergency at CIW was, oh, I have to wait 20 minutes until a female comes to pad search you, so I'm just gonna do it because I don't wanna wait.
My wife is a transgender woman who is currently incarcerated in an all-male prison. The officers at Hardeman County were always popping her door to let those 3 inmates in particular in her cell. The 3 inmates were able to get the guards to move her wherever they wanted, basically. They moved her into their cell, or they moved her under the stairs out of the views of cameras. They sexually assaulted her multiple times, and they said that they would kill her if she said anything. I worry every single minute of every single day.
I learned through speaking with my roommates and other people on the compound that the captain and this officer would regularly come around and collect certain women to rape and assault them. I would eventually be released after 18 months, and several months later, the women that were being assaulted were also paroled, and they reported the captain and this officer to the police. They were afraid to report while incarcerated because the captain threatened loss of visitation with children, threatened loss of parole dates, threatened to take away transfers. So they were very scared to report while incarcerated. But once they were released, they reported, and those men are now incarcerated themselves for rape and sexual assault on these women I was incarcerated with.
Most people knew that I was trans because I had breasts, and you can see that I had breasts. One of the nurses who were providing the estrogen injections to me while I was there, she told me that she had a conversation with one of the administrators at the prison, the captain of the prison, and told him that this is the equivalent of having a woman in a male's prison, and this is creating an environment that is putting this individual at risk. They didn't take that into consideration. They still kept me in general population, where I was subsequently sexually assaulted and sexually abused on a daily basis. So if facilities use proper screening measures to identify individuals who are most at risk of being sexually victimized, you will see a large decrease of sexual allegations and sexual abuse and confinement. Just having that standard implemented properly would have been so important.
I really do believe that there can be a change in the culture inside prisons. I think that that's going to have to come when the inmates and the officers come to an agreement that everybody's a human being. If we can have a culture change in the mindset of the officers as well as the inmates, and it is no longer us against them, then that's where you're going to have that. And you'll see there will be less situations of assault. If your culture change starts at the top, if you start with administrators and wardens, if you have wardens and administrators who will hold officers accountable for their behavior, and demand that all people in the facility are being respected, that includes the inmates, then yes, you're going to see a big change. You will see a whole lot less sexual assault. You'll see a whole lot less inmate on inmate assault. Everything will change.